way, Jose.
The following footage proves beyond any doubt that the tanks intentionally set the house on fire. It proves that the Branch Davidians were murdered. You can see that this tank has a gas jet on the front that shoots fire. You can also see the fire quite plainly. The tank goes into the house twice, and each time as it backs out, the fire at the gas jets is plainly visible.
We must all do more to recognize and look for the early warning signals that deeply troubled young people send.
Oh, hey, good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. You are watching The Morning Dump, and this is today's host, Jose Galison. Let me know if I'm sounding good, looking good, all that good stuff. All the audio checks were good on my end at the beginning, but you never know. Things get screwy. So make sure I'm sounding good. And real quick before we get into it, while we wait for more of y'all to roll in, I do want to take a second to remind you guys that today's episode was brought to you by our friends over at NWJ Shave Co. If you're tired of that razor burn irritation, those ingrown hairs that come from those multi-bag cartridges, then this is the way to go. You can go back to this, or you can return to the traditional shave. You can shave just like your grandpa used to, whether you're shaving your whole face or edging up your beard. The single blades give you a barber grade shave for a fraction of the price. Sorry, I don't even, that cat's just being an asshole meowing, if you guys can hear him. The standard issue gives one traditional safety razor and a box of 100 stainless steel razor blades. $75 allows you to shave for an entire year. Now, that's if for most people, but that's an estimate. But for those who shave on the regular, like daily or every other day, the Quarter Shave Club is going to be the way to go for you. That puts you out about 25 cents per replacement blade. It's also got shave lathers, shave soaps, 3-in-1 body hair and face soaps as well. It feels great, smells great, great for shaving with. It's also a COVID mandate refusing company. This company was born out refusing the COVID mandate. So to recap, this is a superior shaving product in the fact that it is better for your skin. It's a smoother shave, and it is a cheaper product. And then on top of all that is from a company that doesn't hate your guts. And last but not least, you can get 10% off if you use Jose at checkout. With that, let's get back into it. Let's get into the chat. See what you guys have to say. Yeah, clown. This is how I looked yesterday getting ready to join the call-in show and finding out it was Tuesday, not Wednesday. Wait, the call-in show? Oh, okay. I'm confused. The call-in show. You talking about Already Dead on Tuesdays? They are on Tuesdays, so you were correct if you were thinking it was Tuesday. Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Show up for those and call in and talk to me in Austin. See Doctori in the chat. What's up? See abrogate authoritarians or abrogate. Oh God, what the hell? Man, had a frog just jump up my throat. Just had that was weird. Came out of nowhere. Had a cough. All right. Yeah. Sorry. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear my bodily functions. But yeah, it's Abrogate D's on Twitter. He's here in the chat. We got Ashley from Think Change Repeat. Eddie Grimm up in the house. Bobo McHua. What's up? Saying can't hear you, dickhead. Solid audio is good, is what everybody else is saying. You're just fucking me. Jerry's in the chat. All right, what's up, people? Yeah, you got your days mixed up. You sure did. Got MK Ultra Violence up in the chat. Man, we got it popping today. Let's I guess get into some content today. Today should be fun. I'm looking forward to getting into the Dutroux stuff with you guys at the end because I'm digging more into these threads, getting deeper, connecting stuff. I'm having fun with it. I don't know if you guys are. I think it's enthralling stuff. Like I'm like very locked into the Dutroux and Gladio type stuff right now. But with that, let's start off with a little bit of anti-war talky talk. Let's get into some of the stories of the day. We have Hegseth over here. It orders Pentagon to make budget cuts. 8% is what it is right here. 8% each year for 5 years, which would cut spending by about $290 billion. So be 8% every year. So it's like, obviously it's not going to, that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean it's going to be cut by 40%, because each subsequent one will be the 8% of the previous amount. You know what I mean? So either way, that's a lot. 8% doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about the Pentagon, something that in posterity, or no, I guess posterity is the wrong word there, but in the past, that's just been like, people don't fuck with that. Like, this is another one of those things that, like, even the most optimistic among us were like, nah, they're not going to touch Pentagon funding. I guess they still haven't yet, but just even the fact that they're even signaling for it, here it literally says Hegseth is ordering plans to cut the budget. So, plans are being put in place. So, I don't know. Obviously, I don't think the military-industrial complex will take this laying down. I definitely think they will drag their feet. They'll probably do this in the worst way possible. We've talked about in this show before how it tends to work whenever the military is forced to draw back. I don't know how, if there maybe with Hegseth at the helm, maybe somehow things will be different. But I remember back in 2014 when I was still active duty military, the 2014 was wild, and I don't even remember what the statistics were and how much they cut or what was going on. But that was the last time we really saw any sort of cuts to budgets of the military, and I don't even think it was this much. And still, they immediately went to Manning, and they started cutting Manning as opposed to everything else. Which anyone who's spending time in the military or seeing the budgets and stuff, you know that, like, yeah, personnel is a cost, but like there is millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that go into just weird holes other places. So there are way better places to cut money from than people. Although, frankly, I don't even really care if they cut people. So, and this is coming from someone who was military. So I don't think I'm all. If they were able to, we're just going to cut it in completely half, or if they were like, we're going to just get rid of it altogether. Personally, I'd be fine with it too. I'm very much on the side that we don't really need a military, at least not in that sense. I'm all for like a well-regulated militia and the such. I don't know, defend the guard. Stop sending them over there. Fucking, I don't know, maybe make them like a guard type situation. That becomes our national defense. I don't see any need for a federal government. Pretty sure even in the Constitution even has some shit about how, like, essentially that they're not supposed to have standing army, which is what you would consider our current military. If I recall correctly, I think the workaround is something stupid, like they every few years or something, they vote on re-upping something or other, and that way it's like technically not a standing one, it's one being raised over and over again. It's just that it technically in perpetuity is always being a military being raised. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I'm talking on my ass a little bit, but I vaguely recall that being a thing. So when this nation was first founded, it was like what they fucking essentially offered money. I forget what it's called. Was it like marks and reprisals or I had to forget what the fuck it was, but they essentially had like a term for it where they would literally essentially like hire out mercenaries, or fucking people would start taking their crabbing boats and start outfitting cannons to them and stuff, and that's how they would protect the coast. I'm very much more in line with that, but hell, I don't think we're getting anything close to that. But hey, even 8%, that is like far more than I think any of us really expected. And then 8% every year over 5 years, even more. So I don't know. Hey, I think that's cool. They're looking up. All right, we got more shit talking by Trump. Let's move on over to this. I thought this was funny. This came out, what about just right, literally as we were streaming yesterday. It seems to be the case, as a lot of times we get new stuff coming out then. Oh, well. Think of it, this is from Donald Trump, at Real Donald Trump. I'm assuming this is on Truth, I think. So considering, it's got to be on Truth, because so I guess that's what he's doing now, is he's just, sharing, screenshots from Truth and putting them on Twitter. Okay. All right, Donald Trump, think of it. A modestly successful comedian, Vladimir Zelensky, talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the U.S. and Trump, will never be able to settle. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed, while the United States will get nothing back. Why didn't Sleepy Joe demand equalization, in that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us? We have a big, beautiful ocean of separation. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent him is missing. He refuses to have elections, is very low in Ukrainian polls, and the only thing he was good at was playing Biden like a fiddle. A dictator without elections, Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something I'll admit only Trump and the Trump administration can do. Biden never tried, Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered, and millions have unnecessarily died. And so it continues. So more of this goodness, I'm all for it. Oh, Bobo's saying that was called privateers. Yeah, I was trying to think. It wasn't the term I was looking. It was the term when they like commission these people essentially to do this. I can't remember, but yeah, they were privateers. Yeah, with the fishermen being used as Coast Guard, just Navy. Hey, Qbert up in the chat. What is up? We don't need you. We don't want you. Go ahead and get out, man. That shit sucked. And then all the knowledge just gone. Yeah. And that was the other thing. Like, if you are one of these people who's like government efficiency and you want things to be more efficient, I will say, obviously, I'm jaded on the military, and I kind of just gave you a breakdown of like, so in a certain sense, I'm completely fine with like, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's people out there, my buddies that I probably still know that are in out there. They're probably, if they are watching this, they're like, what the fuck, dude? But personally, I'm kind of fine with it. Because honestly, in all reality, each and every single one of us was tax leeches when we were in the military. We just were. So, like, we're just completely a burden on society. We do nothing positive. I know people make these claims that we need a military. But, I mean, sure, even if some abstract sense we need a military, if you compare that to with a military that we have, whatever idyllic idea of a military you probably have, unless you're a crazy neocon in your head, is probably super far away from whatever this is. And this is literally just makes things worse. All of our foreign policy over decades and decades and decades has, generally speaking, with maybe a few exceptions, only made things worse. And it's hard-pressed to find any examples of when any sort of military interventions in any sense really help. So my point being is, it's pretty clearly, just breaking it down, brass tacks, it is more of a drain on the economy than is a positive. So even if you make the case, in some abstract case, we need the military, at the very least, you're still saying, but it's a complete suck on things, essentially. So I mean, I don't know. I think there's no way ifs, ands, or about it that, like, if you're military, you're kind of, let's be real, you're a tax leech. I'm sorry. You may feel bad about that, especially if you've done, awful things in service of your country or seen awful things, but it just kind of is the truth. And if you really think about it just for a little bit, it's like, you're doing nothing but taking people's tax dollars. So I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, anyways, I kind of got off track to what I was getting at. But if you do have this Doge perspective, this military or this like government-minded perspective, where you do believe we need a military and you think things should be effective, and you want things, that's actually like I can say from experience. Because I felt the echoes of the problems that the 2014 cuts caused within my little realm of the military for well over a decade, or I guess about a decade. And because as Bobo's seen here, then all the knowledge just gone. Like, I know for me with mechanics, it was like, the way they did it is like people who got in trouble is usually like, or before who got in like paperwork, or like, which essentially was like, which used to mean nothing. It used to be like in the military, like before, especially before 2014, anyone who got in trouble, it was like, there were people who would have multiple DUIs, no big whoop. 2014 came around and they're like, oh, we're dialing back the budget. Then it became a one mistake military. That became a pretty common thing amongst most branches, where it'd be like, if you got a DUI, if you got underage drinking, if you got, even just a couple things of paperwork, say for being late for work or whatever, then you could be on the chopping block and you'd be gone. Now I can tell you from experience, in the mechanics world, and I'm sure this applies to probably, honestly, most of the jobs that actually matter, like in the military, or quote unquote matter, if you believe in it mattering at all. Of those ones, usually the type of people who end up actually being good at their job, like infantry, mechanics, cops, whatever, usually kind of are the ones that might have a little bit, or more of the knuckle dragger types, the ones who have gone a DUI, maybe have gone a little bit of legal trouble, maybe they have mouthed off to a few supervisors. Those tend to be some of your better mechanics, some of your better cops, some of your better infantrymen, whatever the actual real job is, not the faggot that sits in an office. Like those tend to be actually, and now those were the guys who were on the chopping block, and they were typically people in like the people on the chopping block. Most were like people in the like operational realm, like people on the ground. Like it wasn't like they started looking at like E6s and above, which would be like upper management, and being like, oh, we need to start cutting manning there. No, they looked at the peons. They looked at people that were like in their first enlistment and maybe in the early ones of their second enlistment. Those were the people who were on the chopping block, people who had a little bit of trouble. So usually you're kind of like people who would have been like in my realm, like a good mechanic. Like he probably would have had a great career going forward as a mechanic, and for years and years to come, it'd be great to train other people to come up. Blah 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 blah. Like he'd probably be known as a guy who's a little bit curmudgeonly. Probably has dirty uniforms, kind of a little bit of a dirt bag, but he's the one that you want to learn how to do your job from. Now that guy, 10 years later no longer existed because the military in 2014 got rid of that fucking archetype of a mechanic. That mechanic who was the guy that everyone came to learn shit. And that has its effects. And then you just end up getting poorer and poorer training to where you have people, honestly, this is kind of I'm not saying this is something you could directly attribute like any of the military mishaps when it comes to aircraft stuff, but that's sort of a part of it. I mean, if you think about it, if you like follow like almost like a butterfly effect sort of thing, it's like you hollowed out your experienced people like forever ago. So that has its effects. Just point being is that like the way they did it was just the least intelligent way to possibly go about it, assuming you still are like trying to do things, still get your mission done, whatever that is, efficiently. Take out the fucking the peons, the ones who really are probably cost the least amount of money. Like if you start looking at like higher ups and the kind of money they make, and then especially those are the ones that are probably gonna be the ones collecting pensions, that's where the money to be cut is really at if you're looking at personnel. But no, they just wanted to hit it where it was like really cut it really hurt the entrenched interests the least, and also hurt also for like media purposes, stung the most. That way they can go look at all these poor airmen that, getting kicked out of the military. There were lots of news stories around that time, like boo-hoo, sob stories, which, to be fair, it is kind of a bummer. But it's like, that was kind of somewhat, I think, the military's own fault, because they literally, like, they're the ones who probably drafted the plans. They chose that hey, you need to cut so much. And they're like, okay, cool, we'll do it in the worst way possible. The spot that affects us, the brass, the least, affects the actual mission the most, but then affects the media the most as well. So we can crocodile tears this till the cows come home. All right, yeah, sorry, getting a little off topic on that. Bobo says they give you a permission slip, basically saying you work under a flag and we'll let you do this, but if you get caught, you're on your own. Yep. Doomsday saying the advancement in military drone technology in combination with black project tech allow for the budget cuts. Good. Jose, you're 100% right. Oh, we're talking about the 2014 stuff, I think. Be sorry. I think you fucked up there. I feel this way about any government employee, and some of them are my friends. Yeah, it is a bummer. It's like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's like, yeah, sure, maybe I could think of anecdotal examples where like, I guess I'd prefer my buddy so-and-so kept living off the fucking government lamb because I'd like him to keep living off that scam because I like him, but this still doesn't change the fact that I'm like, admittedly, it's a scam. Like they're a leech on the people who actually produce value in the world. Yeah. Bobo says, so many damn small arms repairmen fucking up SSAWs, 240s, and M4s and not doing the proper services. The shit got scary, the stuff I seen. E5 to E6 in the Army were on the chopping block that I seen, but I'm just one of them. Yeah, military, or like Air Force, it was like, honestly, probably like E2 to like E6. Honestly, more in probably like the 4 to 5 range, I'd say, with those ones. Because, I mean, really, like when you're like an E4, really, if you're like an E2 or E3, you haven't really even had time to get in trouble, so... as a prior military and current employee of the Fed leadership, works for, I don't get you mean there. Dr. Ray says, if we don't close basements or bases abroad, none of the cuts will actually matter in the long term. The empire will just continue. Oh, on that point, I did see an article or see a thing getting shared around. Dave DeCamp commented on it about, I saw something that was, I forget who specifically. If I find it, I'll bring it back on the show maybe like tomorrow. But they were talking about maybe shutting down bases. I don't remember where, if it was certain NATO or I think they were talking about like terms with Russia or something, and like possibly shutting down certain bases in areas around there or something, which that would be great. But I guess apparently David Camp did look into that, and I guess it was more of the article was more written from a opinion side of things from someone who was a scare tactic type thing of like, this is something that could happen. But either way, that is something that could happen, and I'd be all for it. It's funny it was used as a scare tactic, but yes, it'd be great if we could start cutting down. But all right, let's get back into the anti-war stuff. We talked about the Zelensky stuff. Let's what else we got? The Hamas will free all hostages for permanent truce. Well, I'm not going to open that story because it's not really. Essentially, the Hamas offered that they would free all the hostages for a permanent truce. I believe it's in kind of in connection with Phase 2, kind of as like setting the terms for Phase 2 type thing. Like, hey, we're just ready to give you all the hostages, and we can just like you guys leave, and we can be chill. I guess there were counter offers, but there were also Israel on their side of things was saying in order for any sort of plan going forward, they would need Hamas to demilitarize, and also the PLO or the Palestinian Authority, which I think that is the PLO. I always forget what the acronyms, but either way, the Palestinian Authority, they were going to say essentially they can't operate in the Strip anymore, which I guess they did in some capacities maybe before. Which that neither of those were really acceptable terms. I guess they've both and Hamas has already kind of returned to kind of both being like no. But either way, I mean, I think it's good they're willing to free all the hostages, and it's good to get that news out that like, hey, all the hostages can go home as soon as you guys are ready to say, hey, we're ready to leave, we're done here. That's when it can be done. So I think that's good to at least just spread awareness of that deal is on the table, especially since, I mean, between the Russia stuff and the Gaza stuff, that has kind of been a common story that comes up later, that when actually we get to this point where peace has been like, is starting to be made or whatever, that people start referring to, oh yeah, remember the other deal? Remember that other deal? So this is kind of why I think it's good to be aware of this. So that way, if they don't take this, at least later you can go like, hey, you had this, just making aware that like that way there's no like, oh, they're not willing to negotiate. Like, no, they've put the deal on the table. It's pretty simple, free hostages, permanent truce. But the problem is now it's going to get caught up in all the bluster about, well, Hamas can no longer exist, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, cool. You can live in your fantasy world, but that's not going to happen. So you're essentially, what you're doing is providing, bad faith offers here. So hopefully maybe Israel will come to the table and be a little bit more, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it really is. I have no idea. I really can't read this situation as it goes on. It's far less certain, obviously, than the Russia-Ukraine stuff. The Russia-Ukraine stuff is looking up big time. All right. Here we even go like on that. We have Israel minister calls for forced deportation plan for Palestinians in Gaza. So we still have this sort of talk going on. So it's hard to say because we have all these people who sound sound optimistic about the Phase 2 going forward, and it doesn't seem like, I mean, and then you also see stuff like that too with talks like of forced deportation or must eliminate Hamas. So I mean, people are both, like, all actors involved here seem to be talking out of both sides of their mouth. So it's really hard to. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on the situation as we go on. All right, the CIA explains drone flights over Mexico, which probably the most notable thing about that is then shortly after, Elon actually quote tweeted this essentially, that said that means they're eligible for drone strikes, which is like, are you fucking retarded? Like that's kind of the way I see this interaction here. I mean, how are you? I mean, okay. For one, I think it's. I don't like the idea that we're labeling these guys as terrorist organizations because it is like I guess these labeling really all they serve is like a dialing up of the to what degree we're allowed to do hostilities on these people essentially or something along those lines. And so I mean the idea that we're going to keep doing I don't know. I don't like it. Like it's. The idea that we're going to fucking be killing cartel on our southern border, I think that can get messy real quick. And the thing that scares me the most about that situation, I mean, you guys know the show, we do mostly parapolitics here. I mean, the degree to which you've seen the CIA infiltrates this stuff, like, it's not even, like, there's two components here. There's the cartel and there's, like, the CIA or the octopus or whatever you want to call the entity that clearly is infiltrating these systems. So it's like you're not just dealing. I mean, even if it was just the cartel alone, that in and of its own, it's like you're slapping at a hornet's nest. You're asking for trouble, And I mean, there's still a chance that maybe like a cartel is like, hey, I don't want a full blown war, so maybe they'll be more conciliatory towards. But there is that other component of like the Fed component in there that's like, what's their game? I don't know. So now we're dealing with two very hazardous entities essentially that you kind of don't know which way they could go. So the idea that if we start drone striking these people, this could get out of hand real quick. And it almost is like, is there somebody, was there somebody somewhere who's like, hey, we're going to do up Northwoods again? Is it like, what is going on here? Like, what is going on? These people that like push these, I don't know. I just struggle to buy why anyone would think, active conflict with the southern border be all right. As if this is just some, JV entity on our southern border that's no big whoop. I don't know. I really think you're asking for an Afghanistan on your southern border if we aggravate this situation too much more. All right, let me see what else we got on this side. I think we're good. I think that's really all I wanted to hit on this side of things in the anti-war. There was more talk about I guess Israel sort of dialing back more in Lebanon, although they're still sort of occupying there. I mean, they're dicks. I don't know what to say there. All right, let's pop back in the chat, see what you guys have to say. Did I lose you? Are you guys there? Can you see me? That was weird. Okay, well, all right. I got like a little thing in the top right corner saying something about like the signal or something. So let me know if you guys see me, right? You guys hear me? Someone sound off in the chat, making sure we're good there. I'm still moving around all that. Okay. Let me pop in the chat, see what you guys have to say. Your correct leadership doesn't give a fuck about anyone but themselves and their jobs. Sorry, you're still in the system. Glad you got out from CSETP. Melko says Trump is the first president in a long time that doesn't require war profit to fatten his pockets. However, Miriam Adelson paid him $100 million, and Trump delivered 1,800 bombs to Israel the other day. Yeah, I guess screwed up rebellion's all for drone striking the cartels. I don't really understand. I really cannot wrap my head around why anyone would think that's a good idea. So cartels are already killing civilians every day. Not my fucking problem. Like, sure, don't get me wrong. I'm not denying you protect your areas along the borders, but I mean, going into Mexico and drone bombing, actively hunting down cartels and drone bombing them, not really a fan. So, I don't think it's a great idea, but perhaps I'm wrong. Bobo says you want to see the CIA use this to smuggle stuff, because that's how they're going to start smuggling things through the military. Yeah, perhaps. No, I'm not going to be surprised. What's up, Michael Sear? All right, cool. We're saying we're all good here from MK Ultra Violence. Someone's saying that Crow 77 guys. I don't even know who that guy is. All right, cool. We're good. I just had Grok draw you in a house full of cats. Posted to Twitter under the show post. Yeah, I might look for it here in a second just for some LOLs. Might bring that up. All right, let's get into some more stories. This is from Black Eye. This is where we have the fun little photo of today. He says Tower Gang Jose just keeps getting more and more interesting. Once again, just to remind you guys. This is I'm all for bringing on you guys' content on the show. I'll even give you a little shout out. Love to support you guys where I can and show love. Yeah, I mean, and you guys, it works out because if you're watching the show, we're on a similar wavelength, so you guys get to be my feelers. Get me my what is it on fucking Game of Thrones? My little birds or whatever the fuck it was. You're my little whispers. That's what you guys are. You guys can you guys keep me tapped into what's going on because I can't be everywhere. I'm kind of a tech tard anyways, so it helps out. But Black Eye shared a tweet from Martyr Maid, that is a sensitive subject for me. That at one point in time, Daryl was my honestly probably I wouldn't say my favorite follow or favorite mutual, but he was probably my most impressive. Like if anyone was like, hey, the scene in American Psycho where everyone pulls out their card, say someone pulls out here's my Myron Gaines follow. Here's my whatever follow. It gets me, I don't know. There's a little bit of I know, it's kind of cool when you get a follow from somebody fairly prominent or someone that you respect their work. Yeah, he used to be like, if I was sitting around American Psycho and we were all whipping out the card, like he would have been the card. Be like, oh my god, really? A Daryl Cooper, a martyr made? That guy follows less than 300 people. He's got great work. But yeah, he used to follow me, and then I don't know what the fuck I did. He just stopped. I still respect. I still like his work. I don't know what I did. I wasn't even like. I don't feel like I was like an annoying reply guy. I feel like I only replied to a couple of his comments, like maybe a handful of times. But I don't know. I would assume it was probably some of the degeneracy, probably retweeting Tower Gang stuff. Honestly, probably was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then probably saw the little thing at the top that was like Tower Gang Jose retweeted, and he was like, "Why the fuck am I following this guy?" So it's probably my own damn fault. I guess he likes a serious feed. Sorry. I mean, he followed me shortly after, I think, like the Iki stuff, when that was popping off. I think it was actually even before I interviewed Tanya. So it seems like he's pretty clicked into that. I mean, I think it might have been from Scott Horton giving me a shout out or something, because he's a big fan of Scott Horton. So either way, I'm still a little sad about that, a little salty. I can't follow him anymore just because of that. Just I don't know, just at a point of pride, because it just hurts. You know, I was hurt a little bit. Come back to me, Daryl, please. I'm just kidding. It's not a big deal. Either way, he does great work. I highly recommend his stuff. I checked out his series on the Foundation of Israel. I forget what it's called. Fear and Loathing in Palestine? Great series. I know he's currently, I think this right now, this thread that we're looking at with him, which for the audio people, I know I'm kind of fucking rambling on. I believe he's been, I think he might actually already be a couple, like an episode or maybe even a few episodes into it right now. But he's working on a series. I guess it's more covering the time period of like kind of the Holocaust, I think. So, you know, kind of, or like maybe lead up. I don't know the exact time frame. I'm sure I'll end up checking it out whenever it comes out in its totality. But I mean, even though it'll be, I'm sure it'll be a work of art. But this seems like this was an outcropping of that. This seems to be on his mind. So Martyr Made shared this. He said, about 150,000 Jews served in the Wehrmacht during World War II, compared to 50 to 60,000 Jews in the UK military. The highest-ranking Jewish officer in UK history was only a brigadier, while Hitler had around 30 Jewish generals and admirals, and his last head of the Luftwaffe was a Jewish field marshal. Obviously, this is a fact without context, but it's interesting nonetheless. There were only 500 to 600,000 Jews total in Germany. 250 to 300,000 of those were men, and many of those were too old or young to serve. I don't know what IOW stands for. A very large percent of eligible German Jews served. IOW. Is it like a commonly used acronym? I don't even know what that means. Okay. Something. A very large percent of eligible German Jews served. So, okay, yeah. So there's only essentially 300,000 men in Germany during that time, and 50-ish thousand of them were serving. So about 1 in 5 Jews in Germany during that period of time, I guess, was serving in the military. So Daryl says, I would hesitate to draw any hasty conclusions, but the fact that most people would find it unbelievable shows that things are more complicated than the mythic version of the story. And that's in response to someone saying, what does this say about Jewish loyalty? I personally would say it's probably it is, as he says, it's complicated. So minor correction: Field Marshal Milch was not the last head of the Luftwaffe. He ran the Ministry of Aviation and the Luftwaffe Inspector General, and was the Luftwaffe Inspector General in 1945. Here he's responding to someone saying, extremely careless from Daryl, who's usually very good and highly recommended. This person saying, 1, most of the 150,000 weren't practicing full or even identified as Jewish people, or as Jewish. People who are 1/4 are included in this number, which, real quick, let's go back on that. That's kind of, I mean, how would we do, like, if we did any sort of percentage, you know, any stats on Jews now and any given thing, this would be the same thing if anyone wanted to kind of like, well, actually, that this is exactly what they do. Because, I mean, this is kind of the crux of the issue when it comes to the identity of it's something that, because hell, it says practicing full or even identified. So even that in itself, just in that one sentence, implies, wait, what the fuck even is this? Because practicing what? Practicing being a Jew? And you say full. What do you mean full? Because now, like, obviously practicing implies religion. Full implies race. Then identify just means something I just fucking say. So it's like, what even is this? And that's kind of the problem here, is it is kind of all of those things. So how do you really do stats? Kind of hard to say. People who were 1/4 were included in this number. Yeah, well now, I mean, literally when it comes to it, most of the time, the commonly agreed thing is that like if your mother's a Jew, you're a Jew. So you could get to a point where you're a 1/32nd Jew and you're still, hey, I'm Jew. And no one's thinking about the percentage going on through each subsequent generation. Or maybe they are, but it isn't like they get to a certain point and we're like, no, like as long as it's a mother, kid, you know, like Jew, all the way down. I mean, you could get down to where you're like 1 in 1,000, whatever the fuck, and you're still Jew. So kind of moot, whatever. Anyways, 2, most were out by 1940. Many were drafted into the Wehrmacht, which number 3, yeah, that's legit. I mean, if you're drafted, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, what the fuck are you going to do about it? Get shot? So now Martyr said, or Daryl says, I never said they were all full Jews, though thousands were and thousands served with exemptions after 1940. The vast majority would have been eligible for Israeli citizenship via the law return. If they're Jewish enough for Bibi Netanyahu, they're Jewish enough for me. Now keep in mind too, I mean, I don't know, maybe there was something about the military to where they wouldn't grant them these, but I mean, we just read the other day that one passage from the book that kind of confirmed what I'd said the day before about kind of how Zionism, the Zionists, and the Nazi, or how literally Hitler made public proclamations about how like we're down to support the Zionist cause. So, I mean, I would think that a lot of these Jews would probably be. It sounds like they're completely cool with them leaving. Once again, not a justification for what came later, obviously. I mean, you guys hear me say, voice my complaints about the Palestine issue all the time. Kind of a very similar thing. So it's like, I mean, I'm very much like on the side of the Jews in this situation, in the sense of like the people, like just the people that got kicked out of their homes and lost family members, all that stuff. Not cool. So, all right, all right. And then here's another one. He said another minor adjustment. The 500 to 600,000 number represents full Jews. That is, those with at least 3 Jewish grandparents. There were also another 111,000 more with either 2 or 1 Jewish grandparent. Still, 150,000 is a very high proportion. So even then, to that further point, I mean, that's actually pretty. I mean, had at least 3 Jewish grandparents. That's like 75%, I'd say, right? I mean, I would think if you have 3 Jewish grandparents, you're 75+%. So even then, so they kind of moot to the point earlier. So see, even already someone here, being Jewish is not an ethnicity. Since any ethnicity, it's going to be Jewish. Like, yeah, okay, you know what the fuck people mean. This is retarded. I hate, this is kind of the problem, is they play, this identity game is played. So there's always some faggot who comes in here and goes, well, it's not an ethnicity. And then you'll have some other dude who's just as Jewy who'll make some sort of argument about how, oh, well, it is an ethnicity. It's just really just whatever serves their given purpose at the time. All right, let's pop back on chat, see what you guys have to say. I'm on the side of the Jews. Yeah, I do. As soon as I say it, like, it's always going to get it. You know what I mean, though? The people. Like, the people that were getting kicked out of their homes, say, get the fuck out of here. Like, sure, like, those people. But now, like, when it came to, like, if you're talking, like, Bolsheviks, like, no, fuck those guys. So this dude's literally making Daryl's point. It's way more complicated than myth. Exactly. What's up, Shy? Just want to say what up, Jose. What's up, King David? Have you heard about the King David Hotel? The collaborating Jews were some of the most violent and correct. It's been a long time. Yeah. Yay, he was a Jew, I believe. Oh, you're responding to something else. Adolf Eichmann? Okay. Let me see. Scrolling through here. Bobo saying, it's because of the crazy shit that happens with cartels, but it's literally created from our government. They created a cartel due to drugs being illegal, and the CIA even helped prop up one. Yeah. Okay, let's get out clipped out of context. Yeah, I'm on the side of Jews. Cool. Yeah, cool. That's gonna be like, that'll be the thing people share when I'm a huge fucking influencer years from now. They'll be like, they'll share that out of context. Be like, oh, can we trust him? Is he a Fed? Oh, here he is saying on the side of the Jews. All right, guys. Let's here's a piece Doctori 420 shared to us. Said, looks like I was right. We have a new trend of female school shooters. They had a detailed plan, including guns, pipe bombs, according to the article. So let's check this out. See what they have, what this has to say. I guess there was. Looks like they might have busted a couple other people for a little attempted shoot 'em up. So here we go. This is from KHO11. Scroll down. Oh, well, fuck. Maybe if it's gonna be, well, maybe not. Maybe we aren't reading that. What the fuck? Okay, just kidding. We're not reading that article. What the fuck? Sorry, I should have brought this up beforehand to check and make sure. Oh, sorry, you're not even seeing what I'm seeing. Yeah, no, I brought up the thing, and it went to the main page like a fucking weirdo. What the fuck? All right, well, I guess we're not doing that piece. Jeez, my bad. I definitely should have probably. No. Oh, I'm retarded. No, it was like a pop-up. They have a weird way they do their articles. Give me a second. I fuckered it up. I'll fix it. So, okay, boom. All right. Here we go. Yeah, no, it was like a pop-up thingy. That was the problem. Okay, I'm just retarded. I thought it was an ad, and I clicked out of it, and whereas it was the. All right, give me a second. Let me bring up the tab real quick. Here we go. No, wrong one. Here we go. All right. This is teen girls planned mass casualty attack at Houston High School. FBI says. Houston police are investigating about after 2 students were accused of threatening to place pipe bombs in a Houston high school and shoot peers. According to police, the 2 teenage girls were in custody. According to authorities, one of the suspects, a Willis High School student, is currently being held on unrelated charges, while the second suspect, identified as a girl from Spring Branch ISD, is in custody in Harris County. Evidence suggests the girls intended to place pipe bombs and shoot students at Memorial High School, according to Spring Branch ISD police. Spring Branch ISD police said one of the teens was 15 years old and the other was 16 years old. The 16-year-old suspect was charged with making a terroristic threat. The plan, shared through social media, was very detailed, and that led investigators to believe it was credible, police said. The letter sent to police, families, and staff said the Spring Branch ISD police quickly arrested a student in a potentially credible threat. FBI Houston said it was also involved in the investigation, saying the teens were planning a mass casualty attack. Their names were not released. It wasn't known what charges a Willis High School student was facing or how she was involved in the threat. We're treating this matter with the utmost urgency and commitment, as threats of violence in our school will not be tolerated, the news release from the sheriff's office read. In response to the threats, officials have implemented additional security measures and are working closely with school administrators and law enforcement partners. Law enforcement officials have urged the public to remain vigilant and report any. Okay, I'm going to see if there's anything. Below is a letter. Okay, no, I'm not reading that. Who cares? That's just a letter that they sent to the parents, probably, letting them know. Well, I will read it real quick. I'll just read the main body of it. I'm willing to inform you of immediate action the SBISD police took yesterday in coordination with the FBI and the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Upon being notified by the FBI of a potentially credible threat in the planning stages identified on social media against Memorial High School, SBISD police quickly identified and arrested an SBISD student connected to the threat. An additional individual in Montgomery County was also arrested. Both individuals remain in custody. As both individuals are juveniles, no information about their identity will be shared. We think blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, cool. I'm liking this trend of actually catching these people, so that's cool, as opposed to hearing about this after the fact. Obviously, it's kind of hard to tell if this is just anecdotal, because it means, it's just the ones I happen to be seeing. Maybe it's just that there's more of an optimistic trend, and that's what we're seeing more. We have to analyze it, but either way, it gives the feeling and the impression that, like, hey, are they actually dealing with these now? Are we getting less of the oh, well, no, he was on our radar? I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to tell. So, it's a bummer this shit's happening. I don't think there's anything really particularly more for us to say on that, or that really ties into the type of stuff we normally talk about. I didn't see anything particularly spooky in there. I mean, aside from their pipe bombs thing is a little bit of a spooky component, but it's also kind of a low level, hey, people use pipe bombs sometimes. So it's not like a strong glowing indicator. So either way, I guess something to keep an eye on. But I guess, yeah, if we're going to have these school shooters out there, I'd like to see them get caught. I don't know. I mean, I'd be rather, and if you're going to go the conspiracy that oh, well, they're just setting these people up to make themselves, I'd prefer that over actual shooters. So, hey, that's something we can deal with that conspiracy, but maybe we can stop dealing with the actual school shootings. That'd be nice. All right, let's pop in the chat, see what you guys are saying. Literally was about to say, I'm glad it's not they were on the radar headline. Exactly, yep. Terragram's really pushing them like crazy. Yeah, I mean, they didn't say anything about that with this one, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it could just be a couple disgruntled broads, and that's about it. So are these females or quote unquote females? Nothing said anything else different about that. So we'll see. Someone's saying the Jews clip's going to be on Tower Gang. Hey, yeah, it would work well in the Laney edit for sure. Yeah, definitely send it to Laney. That'd fit. It's like, let's bring up, here we go. Oh, man. Here we go. Abrogate D's, share this tab instead. Hell yeah, I'll give that a little retweet. Hey, pretty good, not bad. I mean, it does look kind of like an older, non-tattooed version of me, sort of, not really. I don't know. But hey, close enough. All right, let's get into this. This, I don't really have much to say about it, but this is just fucking terrifying. This showed up on my thread, my feed the other day, and I was like, I want to share this to you guys. This is Protoclone, the world's first bipedal musculoskeleton android. I know we've been talking a lot lately, kind of about like technocratic possibilities with some of these huge fucking, I don't know, mega billionaire techies out there that are kind of seem to be taking the reins of power, and you know, I don't know, this kind of fits into that theme. This is creepy. All right, you guys can watch it. I mean, I don't really have much to say, so sorry for the audio people. This isn't a great treat for you guys, but just look at this. Like, I mean, it almost looks like they just put a person on some strings and had them move around a little bit. Like, so, yeah, this is weird. So here we are. This is where we're at now. Yeah. Skynet, here we come. Which even then, I don't know, the body thing, I guess is kind of like a moot thing, but I guess it's just the idea that maybe they can like maybe start making them lifelike. I don't know, because I mean, I don't know, a lot of the robot dogs and stuff probably do actually have more purpose behind them than like, I don't know, but I'm sure maybe there's probably, you know, actual functional reasons for human shaped things, but either way, it's just terrifying. That's like, oh cool, that's who's going to be fucking with us in the future. That's great. A cup of water and spray paint is all you need to stop the robots. Yeah, probably. They'd probably be pretty easy for now. Anybody see the episode of Black Mirror, The Robot Dogs? If one is destroyed, it sends out a call for the others. That's all I think about when I see this shit. Horrifying. Yeah, no, I hate it. It's the worst. Once again, none of this unnecessary tech would exist without government funding. Yes. And the creepy thing is, though, that they usually flip this because they'll go like, oh, like, look at NASA. And they'll go, look at all the scientific advancements that we got from going to the moon and all this money we dumped into it. But then it's like this kind of like unprovable premise because it's like the counter narrative you wouldn't know. It's like this idea that like, oh, we wouldn't have innovation if it wasn't for the military dumping. It's like, yeah, of course you're going to get certain innovations out of dumping a shitload of money in one specific thing. But I think generally speaking, you know, those of us who are more free market people would agree that probably you would actually end up getting more innovations if you just let it naturally work through the free market. So, yeah, everyone's just saying creepy robots. Yeah. Hey, what's up? Alan Homopho? All right, let's let's get into the next piece. All right, after this, guys, we're getting into the Dutroux stuff for today. So just letting you know, just here's your warning. Although I think these threads aren't too dark because I kind of skimmed through them earlier. They're more just about kind of assassinations and kind of tying it into Gladio. So it's more on the violence side of things as opposed to the awful atrocities side of things that we talked about before. All right, let's check this out. This is Trump. He said, we're going into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. And if the gold is not, we're going to be very upset. I just thought it was interesting. You know, I guess they're getting ready to look into Fort Knox. I also think, I don't know if they've actually did it. We talked about this yesterday, but I saw something. I guess they're already in the works of firing IRS people. So, hell yeah. Something, I wanted to say the tweet I saw was something around 60,000. Once again, one that like escaped me before I could bookmark it. So sorry. That's why I'm just speaking about it in passing. But let's watch this video real quick.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they gonna
you know that? We're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that? How is that man bump?
Are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, I mean, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the gold have gone?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't personally have a strong opinion whether the gold is there or not, but I mean, it is cool that, hey, we're at least getting back to our roots. The idea that we're recognizing, like, hey, this stuff's supposed to be actually backed up by stuff. It's not. I don't know. I guess Fort Knox is just, I don't know, a nice little, I don't know, an ode to the past is almost how it says. So, All right, let's check in the chat. One of the cabinet guys said the goal is to eliminate the IRS altogether. Fingers crossed. Yeah, no, I know. I've said many times. We talked about this, before, where he's thrown out the idea of like going to a tariff-based situation. I'm completely fine with that. But the problem is, as I've said many times, is how it usually works out, or how most, that are used to how government entities operate, is how we expect this to likely go down. If it were to even be attempted, would be, okay, cool. We're going to institute all this tariff economy that like now this is how but we're going to do all these, like, increase all these tariffs and this and that, and be like, hey, we're gonna reduce the God, I completely got lost looking at one of the chats. We're gonna reduce the God, what the fuck was I even talking about? I saw one of your chats threw me off my train of thought. Fuck. Oh no, I was getting at the idea that that they're going to eliminate essentially we'll just end up with both, so that they'll make these promises that we're gonna swap it out, and then be like, but we gotta dial back the other one later, and then they just never do it. But it looks like we have, I guess, sort of probably seen more tariff stuff, but I don't know, just it seems just kind of more like a gamesmanship type stuff, and more for trying to get agreements. So it's not like he's currently being like, this is like how we're receiving. So my point being is we haven't seen like a crazy increase in tariffs. I don't think so yet. And so maybe we will get some sort of crazy reduction in the IRS. I struggle to believe we won't have an IRS, but man, it's possible. I don't know. It's theoretically possible. And then they just do swap it over to a tariff type thing. I would be completely for that. Hell, even like a consumption tax or something. Or some combination, it'd be preferable to me, at least personally, than having to deal with this fucking dreadful tax shit every year. It's a fucking nightmare if you're someone actually, hustling out there in the world. So, Trump raiding Fort Knox is not my 2025 bingo cards. What's up, Tower Gang NPC? What it do? The free market produces prostitution, says Alan. Yeah, that's true. Not saying it's right, but pussy sells. Yeah, it's true. It does. Not saying you support everything that's on the free market. All right. Let's I'm just scrolling through the chat. You'll get a sales tax. I'd be better with this. Obviously it depends on how much it is. Like it's a within reasons type thing, but I'd be happier with a sales tax or some sort of combination of like a tariff. So that way, at least it's hidden more. I don't know. Maybe if anything, maybe this is bad because in the long run, there's like they can rob us more. But I don't know. This seems more direct when you're able to just go, however, this is the percent of whatever things I buy from the store, and then the tariffs maybe is where they could kind of get you from. So I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I don't know. Fuck the IRS. So I'm very stoked about that. All right, guys, we're swapping over to the Gladio portion of things. Gladio / Dutroux. So I'm just letting you guys know, giving you a little bit of warning. We're going to be talking about the Andre Cool's assassination, and then also we're going to be talking about this, and the next one, Claude Delperdange, and then this guy that died as well, that seemed to be connected. And these do kind of tie into the Dutroux stuff, so they've kind of established these connections at the higher level. So I find this particularly like enthralling, like really just like, whoa, holy shit. So all right, let's go through that together with all right, today, July 18th. Okay, today's not July 18th, but 31 years ago, this was in 2022, so even the years isn't correct. Andre Cool's was assassinated. 2 gunmen shot him down in a parking lot in Cointe on the hills of the city of Liège, seriously injuring his wife as well. The following investigation into his death will make Belgium aware of the Augusta scandal. So another scandal. The Augusta scandal is referring to Augusta, an Italian helicopter manufacturer bribing politicians into securing large orders of Augusta A109 helicopters for the Belgian army, instead of the French Ucuriel AS-350, which was the most fitting option for the army's budget. So to sum it up, essentially on the contracting side of things, somebody's bribing politicians, that way they can get their contract through. So people are on the take here. The bribed politicians were Walloons and Flemish Socialist Party members, including ministers Guy Spitales, Guy Mathot, and Guy Quom. Frank Vanden Broek, also bribed, resigned before Willie Claes, serving as the 8th Secretary General of NATO, was forced to resign too. So I mean, this all that went all the way up to Secretary Generals of NATO, which that ties very much into Gladio, for those who know what Gladio is about. Andre Kool's former deputy prime minister and member of the PS, which is the Walloon Socialist Party, seemed to at least have knowledge about the Augusta bribery, if he wasn't completely involved in it. Around 51 million Belgian francs were accepted by the two political parties. I'm going to retweet this real quick while I'm remembering it, so you guys can check this out later if you want to. At least around 51 million Belgian francs were accepted by the two political parties. The investigation into Kool's death was led in Liège, but another side investigation, at first, into stolen capital securities linked to suspects of the murder, was led in Neufchâteau by prosecutor Michel Brûlé and investigating judge Jean-Marc Connerat. Now, this is where it ties in a little bit, sort of, tangentially. Michel Brûlé, I believe, was a prosecutor in the Dutroux stuff, and then Connerat was as well. I forget, and I don't know enough off the top of my head about Brûlé, but I know Connerat was the one that he seemed to be wanting to actually do a good job, and that's why he got shit canned from it real quick, because it was under his rule or his purview or control of the case or whatever, where the investigation started going forward. The X dossier started being put in place, started doing these sort of interviews and stuff, and all this stuff being accumulated in the dossier. That was under Connerat, and once he got shit canned, that's when they got rid of the X dossier, and that's when they brought in a new team. And then though that team was kind of, the fix was in, that's when all of a sudden you get the little things where they start pointing out with like Virginia Loof, X1. They start being like, well, you said you thought that that knife or that I don't know, I think it was even a knife. I think it was like a nail or something. It was 30 centimeters. That thing you remembered from decades ago when you were a child. No, it's actually 30 centimeters. 8 centimeters. So actually, you're clearly not a credible witness, despite the probably dozens of other data points from that specific crime that you were able to corroborate. Stuff like that. That's when that came in. So this is why it connects a little bit. It'll connect a little bit more. I think it'll be more. You'll see more where this connects in as we go further. But there's an interesting little parallel in this situation too, because a little bit of a spoiler we're about to go into a second. I mean, it's literally the next piece here. It says they were both dismissed off the Kool's case in '94. So this guy who got assassinated, Connerat, was also on this case and also got shit canned from this case, along with Brûlé. So, which I believe I want to say Brûlé got shit canned from the Dutroux one as well, but I can't recall specifically with Brûlé. I know with Connerat for sure. So either way, this isn't the first time it happened that Connerat got kicked off of a case that seemed to be a little bit glowy. So, it'll happen to Connerat again in '96 as he was involved in the Dutroux case. The Dutroux investigation will never be the same after he was gone. The stolen capital securities Brûlé and Connerat were investigating on didn't seem so outlandish when in 1996, the entourage of Alain van der Beest is arrested. In '91, van der Beest's car was used to try and wash that stolen money in Liechtenstein by a broker. So I guess that car was what ended up being used later when some of this money that they tracked to this other case, which, to kind of recap, it's hard to get lost. You get lost in some of this. So just to back up right here real quick. In this piece, it talks about that how there was a side investigation that Michel Brûlé and Connerat were in, but this is an investigation that was linked to these suspects in the murder already. So these were suspects, and so I'm not even sure if necessarily this was associated to begin with. Kind of the idea of like who was the biggest gangster? Why can't I think of his name right now? They got on tax fraud. The mobster. Why can't I think of his name right now? Whatever. We had the biggest mobster ever in fucking America. I feel really stupid. I can't think of his name, but they got him on tax fraud. So I don't know if it was a situation like this where they're like, well, we can get him on this, or maybe they were already looking to it. Either way, there was a stolen capital securities they were looking into, and this Van der Beest guy, his car was used later. They were able to find his car was used trying to wash that money somewhere. So I don't know what form that he was washing it. So I mean, just look at this dude. I'm assuming this is Alain van der Beest. This dude looks like fucking he exists off Adrenochrome. But anyways. Carlo Tortorello, who was there in Liechtenstein, will then dump on the police. Okay, so this is a guy, I guess, that was in Liechtenstein. I guess I'm assuming this is a guy who was part of his entourage. This is, the entourage was arrested. So I'm assuming this is the guy that was arrested. Keep in mind, as I've said before, the guy who wrote these threads, I'm pretty sure speaks Belgian. So I'm assuming English isn't his first language. So sometimes it gets a little, but the information seems pretty fucking solid. So I've been reading the shit out of this guy's threads. Highly recommend following this guy at IRC_NIC if you want to look into any Gladio, Dutroux, Brabant killings, pink ballets, like any of that sort of stuff. He is on it. He's got a lot of shit on that. But anyways, this guy is the one who his car was being used to wash money. This is the guy that was washing the money, I believe. So Carlo Totorello, who was there in Liechtenstein, will then dump on the police that Van der Beest is involved with Italian and Albanese organized crime, and that Cools is a danger to his business, which is why, through his entourage, he hired 2 Tunisian gunmen and got rid of Cools. So, all right. So now this guy that was busted trying to wash his money, he comes out with this idea that, he says that that guy was involved with the mob and they hired him because the Cools guy was bad for business. Perhaps that's the case. This isn't followed on completely in 91, and the investigation decides that the Augusta scandal is more likely cause of death for Cools. Carla Totorello admits to being involved in the assassination in 92, along with Richard Takwe and Pino Damaro, Van der Beest driver. Keep in mind, this could be a situation where both things are true, or true-ish, and that could be what he was told. This guy was told, we work with this guy's bad for business, blah, 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 when in reality it's, maybe something else. So, and they just don't want to. Why would you give out your assassin too much information? Just if anything, it's better to send him. If you do give information that gets out, we'll send him on a goose chase. So, okay, Richard Takwe, part of Van der Beest's entourage. I guess there was multiple people got arrested. So, is involved with organized crime and seemed to be the one who organized the hit. An anonymous source will then confirm what Totorello said in 92, giving even more details, and soon the 2 Tunisian gunmen are identified. Totorello is heard again by the police, leading to the arrest of Takwe and Van der Beest, with the trial starting in 2003. But without Van der Beest, who killed himself in 2002, claiming his innocence in a letter left to his wife. Takwe received a 20-year sentence. While we're sure of who did the hit, we'll never know for sure who was actually behind it and why they did it. It seems like Cools is involved with a large cast of characters very typical to Belgium in the 80s and 90s. Organized crime, crooks, corrupt politicians. Here's a little anecdote told by Willie Clays, who claims that the Augusta trial was influenced by Opus Dei, leading a charge against him because he's a Freemason. So, an interesting little aside. Let's read this as an excerpt from an article. Clays repeats in the interview that it was mostly the Catholic organization, some opponents speak of a sect, that wanted him gone. I'm an avowed Freemason, in quotes, kind of a statement he said. This was told to him by a highly placed clergyman. The influence of Opus Dei appeared when certain witnesses came forward as members of this organization. They were doing it crying, "God help me." The president of the Court of Cassation called them to order, but a signal was given. It is clear that Opus Dei influenced the Augusta trial, he says. Perhaps he did, or they did. Cools was also a Freemason, as were most high-ranked Socialist Party members in that era. A lot of politicians, including liberals and conservatives, were Masons as well. Both Masons and Opus Dei members were occupying high-rankings places in politics, finances, and more in Belgium. All right, that's the end of that thread. We're going to get into the other one in a second, and that one ties back into things a little bit more. What's up, Fire Pixie? Yo. Al Capone. God, I hate that I couldn't think of his fucking name. It was just like there. Like Al Capone. There you go. All right, cool. All right, you guys still talking about taxes and stuff. All right, let's get into the next thread. This is more on Delperdange. Him and his wife were shareholders of a company under the control of the Trident Technology Holdings Group, owned by Leon Francois Deforme, same Trident that Italian helicopter manufacturer Augusta promised contracts to after the Belgian army deal was made. So here's that guy, the guy who died. We're going to take a little bit of a side trip into this other little tiny thread that kind of shows pictures of him. It kind of gives you a little bit more background on him. This is Claude Delperdange. This is a guy who we're going to be talking about dying. He is the CEO of Zeus Computers. Here is Zeus Computers. Here's him. You can see him as a CEO, and he was a Front de la Jeunesse member who was killed by his wife in 1991. So here you can see photos of him as part of this militia, essentially in the past. So you can see some photos of his old days. So this guy glows. And then here's Francis Dezon, leader of the Front de la Jeunesse and Surete de l'État asset, which the Surete was their intelligence agency, who reported to them about left-wing militant groups. Here, pictured with the Belgian Fascist Party Nation in 2021. He also ran for French department elections with the Marine Le Pen's RN in 2021. So here's some photos of this guy with also you see the other fella. I forget what's his name. It's Delperdange. I think he's in that photo too. So I just thought this is interesting. Kind of see the here's them in Rhodesia, which we've talked about Rhodesia and Already Dead before, and how that was almost like a play place for these mercenary types. So I guess these people were involved in the Rhodesia stuff. Here's flags. And of them, here's more. Here's Dezon again when he ran as an old man. Also, Group G instigator VDB's Sepik, which is the political party shill. Writer for Nouvelle, or VDB, by the way, is Vanden Boyntz, or I forget how the fuck. Vanden Boyntz. That guy, he's the guy who he was the one who run it. Like Sepik was his thing. Writer for Nouvelle Europe magazine, Front de la Jeunesse recruited young right-wingers that then could be recruited by the elite Westland New Post to serve as intelligent assets for the Surete, who had infiltrated WMP with C. Smets, which Westland New Post was another little militia, which, that's has come up multiple times. It's where most of these people, which is where a lot of this, like we had the Westland New Post guy that was in the Brabant killings, who was talking about the gendarme, would help them out. Keep in mind, Paul Latinus, the founder of the Westland Post that we talked about recently, he was very clearly a Surete agent, and I think we'll probably get into another thread on him later and kind of his past. It looked like literally from the jump, this guy was a Surete asset, essentially intelligence agency asset, and he created this entity that ended up carrying out crazy amounts of violence, and there's also claims within there that, hey, we're getting cover from the gendarmerie while we're doing this. So all right, let's get back. That's the end of that little side thread. So that kind of just goes into the characters a little bit. So for those trying to get a grip, it is hard. Even me myself, I'm still struggling with getting a grip on the characters and who does what. So that's kind of why it's nice to take the time to kind of go through it here. So all right, let's get back to the main thread. So here's back to the main thread. So we've kind of dug into more context on Augustin the Cool's assassination. This is why we went into the Cools first, because this does tie into it. So you can see he shares the other thread. After Trident went bankrupt in '89, Cools was seemingly furious. Keep in mind, Cools is the last thread we just covered, the guy who got assassinated. He suspected Deferme and Guy Mathau are also involved to have cashed in on the Augusta money for themselves. So this is a Trident. Him and his wife were here. Okay, sorry, I'm just still processing this as I go. 6 days before Cool died on July 18th, 91, Delperdange was shot dead by his wife. Why? Well, you'll see, like many gentlemen in the circles he shared, Delperdange seemed to also enjoy private parties, i.e. orgies, going as far as hosting, which his wife could not put up with anymore. I'm going to share this real quick so you can check this out on your own. All right. Cool's assassination, Front de la Jeunesse. What's next for this guy? Well, Mr. Nihul, who got trapped into a hidden camera interview with Canal Plus, which is French TV, blabbered on about details surrounding the Cools case. Before Cools was killed, he said, they had to dispose of people. So now we're getting this is coming back around to Nihul. I guess they're saying that in a hidden camera type situation, essentially Nihul ran his mouth off about this Cools guy from the previous thread we covered, and how this guy, he was going on about how they needed to take care of people. So they knew too much. I guess here's a piece from it. I guess you can say Nihul and Marlene de Coquier right here. I don't know the specifics on how they got this information, but anyways, they knew too much. 2 people were killed. He said the first one's murder was arranged to look like a suicide, which is Jacques Lefebvre, perhaps, and that for the second one, his wife had taken care of it, and it wasn't charged with anything. So the wife didn't get charged with anything. that accurately describes Claude Delperdange. Okay, so what they're saying is this is in corroboration, or they're essentially kind of corroborating it with these statements Nihul made. Nihul said 2 people were killed. He said the first one's murder was arranged to look like a suicide. People are saying maybe this was this Lefebvre guy. But there's, some people died. It's hard to say who. And that for the second one, his wife had taken care of it and wasn't charged with anything. And they're saying that matches up to being Claude Delperdange. So the wife of the individual we're talking about now. So it looks like it's almost like she got the pass to kill her husband. I'm assuming it was probably more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if it was maybe not so much the pass as like, hey, you're going to kill your husband, or, maybe something else. His wife, Anne Mariage, explicitly confessed to killing her husband in 1991. The judge then in charge of her case let her go because she was acting in self-defense. 8 years passed before Mariage would see a trial, and by then, all charges against her were dropped. In that same conversation, Nihul also alluded to the Cools case and the Brabant killings being linked in some way. By the way, I just to back up a little bit, because I realize some of you guys may be struggling with the names and who does what and stuff. The significance of Nihul, I didn't take the second to back up. Nihul seems to be essentially who Dutroux was working for, which we've covered Dutroux and the other ones. He's kind of what gets the attention of the Dutroux affair. He's the one who's procuring kids, kidnapping them, bringing them to seedy elites, and awful things are happening. He's storing them in dungeons, in makeshift dungeons he's made in different properties. And then this is this is why it's called the Dutroux affair. When in reality, it's probably really should be called like the Nihul affair, or even the NATO affair, or the Gladio affair. That might even make more sense. But Nihul definitely would make more sense. Nihul is the guy that Dutroux was essentially working for. He was providing people for. Nihul was also clicked in with all the radio stations, which, given the time period of the 80s and 90s, and even before that, was pretty significant. He also was tied into CPIC, which was a huge political party that had crazy ties to Gladio. So anyways, we can go on. But I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that's why the significance of Nihul saying all this stuff, and then him even being brought into this whatsoever. In that same conversation, Nihul also alluded to the Cools case and the Brabant killings being linked in some way. Unclear if Nihul knew Delperdange, I hate that name, it's awful, but surely he knew of Lefebvre, who owned Management Car Company, because they leased him one of his cars, an Audi 80. That is also the same car that Nihul pretends he called Dutroux for in 96, the one that needed fixing. To get back to Delperdange, not only is he linked to many suspicious people, but the man himself has been accused of looking like the Giant from the Brabant killings, especially the composite drawing established based on surviving victims' testimonies. So, I guess I'm assuming this is a photo from when he was younger. Here is, I guess, the Giant, which is one of the people describing composite checks. It almost looks like the top one, which, yeah, sure, kind of, I guess. I could see that. All right, forgot this. According to this source, lacking but usually pretty well-informed satirical Belgian newspaper, Pereer Ubu, Zeus Computers worked for NATO. It's a small world. So not only this, but on top of all that, this dude fucking worked for NATO. His company that he was the CEO of worked for NATO. So this guy is clicked in with all these characters. There's obviously some sort of intrigue, stuff going on at the higher levels, people being whacked, clearly a lot going on. All right, let's pop back on the chat. We actually got through this stuff a lot quicker than I thought. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. I got a couple more threads for you guys for tomorrow. I'm gonna keep going on these Dutroux things. I'm gonna be so fucking prepared for Tripoli and for William Ramsey's show next week, because this is kind of in the vein of where we're talking about themes for both of them. So, all right, let me roll through the chat, say what's up to y'all, and then let's get out of here. So, if you guys anything you guys want to get in, now's the chance to do so. Yep, Rhodesia and Northern Ireland. So M16 helping out the Ulster Loyalists and the CIA, and USSR helping out the PRA. Eddie's saying thanks, Jose. Well, I think maybe we're at an end here, guys. Man, I kind of wish I'd had another Gladio thread that I'd brought up. But yeah, let's. Oh, here we go. Bobo says I came across something interesting that's like ERO Gladio. I don't know what that means. That got reimported to America with pagan Vikings village proposal. Would you be interested? I mean, I'm a little confused about what the hell you even saying there. But yeah, send me a DM. Oh shit! I just remembered one of you guys sent me a DM recently. So let me bring it up real quick because I was supposed to bring it up. You guys, glad you mentioned. Send me stuff. So let's do this right here. This is from Arcane Arsenals is who sent this over to me in a DM. I'm not gonna dox you from the DM or whatever. So we'll go straight to the tweet here. Here we go. This is on the Delta plane crash yesterday. So I just remembered something jogged my memory. I'll be honest, I sometimes forget when you guys DM me, but that is another option. If you guys just want to directly DM me something, cool, or you can tag me in it, whatever. So this is Indian Bronson. He says, I won't post her name and info, but the Delta plane crash was piloted by a woman who just got certified by an airline operator that makes a big deal of having female pilots. So, okay, I don't know how true this is. Here's an unread message. It says, guess who flew that Delta plane? Or not unread, I'm retarded. Here's a screenshot of a text message, which this means nothing really. Guess who flew that Delta plane? Who? Woman who just got her ATP. And it says, no fucking way. Are you serious? Yes. Obviously, this is not confirmation of anything. This is, I could have sent this to my wife and screenshotted it, and no one would know the difference. And then here's dispatch remarks. Here's a little thing from it too. So maybe this will, this is R1 for added MEL 24111A and remove 24111B 1722Z. Hold fuel for continuous APU op, which APU is their auxiliary power unit. That's what they use to power up the airplane. Hold fuel for continuous APU. I don't know what that means, what they're meaning there particularly. Take off analysis marks, please open. I'm trying to think I don't see anything in here that points to what he's saying. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and go with this is moot for now. This means absolutely nothing. This second screenshot shows me nothing. I don't know, nothing in here I'm seeing that would imply anything about her not being certified or just getting certified. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe if I was a pilot, I'd be able to look at this stuff and be a little bit more. But nothing about here seems to imply anything to me, and we have a text message. So, I mean, I don't know. This could be true, but this is useless. It's basically what this is. Sorry, Arcane. Love you, brother. But yeah, have a good day, boys. Says Eddie Grimm. Old Glory Club tonight. If anyone's interest starts at 8. I don't know what Old Glory Club is. I'd be interested in hearing about it though. If you want to tag me in it or something. Hit the like button, homos. All right, let's get out of here, guys. Yeah, send me whatever you want me to cover on the show, Bobo. Tag me on Twitter, DM me something, email me if you don't have Twitter or whatever. But yeah, with that, guys, let's get out of here. If you want to support what I'm doing, you can do that over at patreon.com/nowayjose2020. What the fuck? Enter my PIN. I'm sorry, I was just a little inside info. I usually keep a little thing off the side for my plugs, so I remember what to say. And as I did it, like Facebook was trying to get me to put some sort of pin in. I was like, what the fuck? Anyways, sorry. I got a squirrel brain. Anyways, for those who want to support the show, patreon.com/nowayjose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's where you can get the early access to the episodes, which I did fuck up this week, and I didn't do any on Sunday like I said I was going to. I was going to do that Vegas episode. But it's looking like tonight, currently it's on tap. I mean, sent an email. Everyone's a go, so we should be good. I have tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern on the Behind the Paywall. So for those, and a lot of people actually showed up to the stream. Most of the time, you guys just seem to watch them later and don't show up for the live streams. For those who are unaware, I do live stream to my patrons, so you guys can watch this on a live stream. I give out the link every time we do those. But you can also watch it after that. It doesn't have to be live. Most people don't. But you guys seem to really like showing up for the light when I had Jonathan Franklin on last. Well, now we have Jonathan Franklin and Richard Booth. So I would highly recommend everyone show up that's a patron that enjoys Oklahoma City bombing type content. Show up tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll have the both of them, and we're going to have a nice roundtable discussion about all things Oklahoma City bombing. I'm really looking forward to it. These are both interesting fellas, and man, I came away from the Jonathan Franklin episode last time like, man, I could just probably ask him a million more questions, but I just had to respect his time. So it'll be fun. Also, on Sunday, I believe I'm going to be doing an analysis episode of True Detective Season 1. So I'm looking forward to that. So interesting stuff. Keep an eye out. I'll be doing more going forward. I'm going to try to start doing 2 a week now of the paywalled episodes as opposed to my 1 a week. So for your patrons out there, you'll get more of a value. And also for the non-paying people, that means I'll probably start putting out 2 of those, 2 episodes a week, 2 of the like topic-driven episodes, not these live stream type things. So yeah, with that, everyone gets more. But if you want to be a talking head on Already Dead with me and Austin, you can do that there too. That's where on the video call portion of Already Dead, the second half of the show, you can come on and be a talking head and shoot the bull with us. Also, you can ad-free RSS feed, so you don't have to deal with the ads. I know a lot of people don't like those. But with that, also my high level is my sponsors. I read them off every episode. My co-host on Tower Gang at Tower Gang Toad, also at AbrogateDs, at ZOVRACK, at _Fazil, Tim Tuttle, at Jolly on Klebold, and Will Bell, his delicious blueberry rabbit eye wine. Big fan of the show, Torrin May, then at INWARD Lover. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, all good stuff. You can follow me on Twitter at Tower Gang Jose. As I remind you guys frequently, this show is very much formed by you guys, so tag me and stuff, and I'll gladly, most of the time, bring it up, unless it really is stupid or something. Yeah, follow me on Twitter. I already said that. I'm retarded. But yeah, leave a like. If you're watching this, go leave a like on YouTube or Rumble. If you are listening to this, please leave a 5-star review. It helps out a lot. And with that, we are out. Deuces.